Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome
Hi.
to Legends of Logomancy, the best magical girl RPG stream this side of Monday nights from Canada. How you doing?
Woo! Doing great. How are you?
I am living the dream, doing all right. I need a moose, goose, and maple syrup themed magical girl in my life.
I
My
recommend
partner won't wear the outfit, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. What?
I think I just thought of a new Halloween costume. I like it.
Gotta make it happen.
I'm suddenly so busy on Halloween.
See, you say that. We'll find it. How has your week been so far, folks?
Great.
Yeah? Living the
Yeah.
dream? Doing all right?
Yeah. No responsibilities, just doing nothing.
I like it. Uh, R&R is the important R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the R's.
Melissa, how about you?
It's been pretty good. I slept in for the first time in a long time on the weekend, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal, except that I have small children, so it's a huge deal.
Matters.
And it was a good day at work. I don't know. Everything's kind of coming at Millhouse.
I too enjoy not wearing pants. Alex, how's it going?
Just holding it down. Lots of living, breathing, injecting into my brain blades in the dark and learning everything about the Forged in the Dark system. And got all my permanent residency stuff. The card finally came in the mail, so I'm here.
Whoa.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Excited to go to the doctor for the first time in way too long.
It helps. It's
Yeah.
it's a different experience up here than it is in up. Can we call it the good place versus the bad place? Is that
I don't know.
canonically appropriate?
No, but only because of Canadian mining companies. They're
Hmm.
basically the CIA. But other than that, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. It's been a really busy time. We're partnered up with Fantasy by Numbers and with Earth MMO, and we've got an event coming up this coming weekend in Okotoks that's got 1,000 people coming, which is gonna be cool. So we're gonna LARP with a whole town involved. It's gonna be a good time. Well, downtown at least. I did all the script writing and dialogue and stuff for a video game, and we got a bunch of folks that are going to come and walk around and play an augmented reality RPG game. So it's
It's really cool.
going to be a good time. I am going to be a wizard.
Of course you are. Are you
That
going to
makes
wear your
sense.
wizard hat?
Yes, and
Yeah.
various other wizardy things that are in a box over there.
And
Nice.
largely too hot for a 24-degree day?
We'll see, because in Alberta, if you don't like the weather, you wait 5 minutes. But
What does a wizard wear in the summer?
usually sleeveless tank tops, because if the sun's out, guns out. Right?
Yeah.
I don't make the rules, but like Rage Mage, Muscle Wizard.
Makes sense. Muscle wizard.
That's how it goes. You may notice that we are down one right now. And I'll be here a little bit later. Just had some errands to run. So, with that, I think we should jump into our series finale of Girl by Moonlight. Amanda, when last we left our heroes, what happened?
Nothing good. we fought Wukong. The wizard played nice, and Franklin was able to tame him. Somehow that
Pretty cool.
no one's going to understand but him. But then some creatures kind of flew in and started destroying everything. The stress is high right now. A big bird is just laying waste to the bastion, and it's not looking good.
the bastion is protected primarily by a large biodome that they use to simulate rain and moonlight and all sorts of things because, you know, time travel being what it is, they can't run the risk that a mosquito flies in and somebody kills it, and or a mosquito flies in and walks off with children. Well, I mean, Pangea,
Yep,
everything's a little bigger.
it's a hazard.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Or somebody, grabs the General Lee and starts trying to jump dinosaurs and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Boy.
Right? It's one of those things.
Hmm.
But currently there's a massive smoking hole in that biodome. And debris and detritus everywhere as the several buildings either no longer exist or have just collapsed and been pushed in. And we find ourselves weeks after this having y'all were in the middle of the ocean. You
Mhm.
saw this at a distance. You were too far away to hear the screams.
Felt them.
Probably. More than likely. At least one of you did. Who knows? Because it's Blades in the Dark, we always start with our obligation phase. This is where the players by themselves account for their day-to-day lives as, plucky youngsters full of angst and what did I say in the promo material here today? Plucky youngsters felt cute, might fight God later, you know?
Exactly.
It seems like a really good way to plucky youngsters fuel their mechs with 100% pure unleaded personal angst and trauma. It seems appropriate.
Yep.
We'll skip over Xena for the moment, but I think we're going to go to the captain first. The hope is lost. Fans lost their lives. Rampant protests and hate are labeling you guys like absentee heroes. Your label's been doing the best they can, and the mucky mucks and the higher ups are trying to like, oh no, that footage never happened. Don't worry about it, and like taking things away because it's much more. It's much easier to sweep some things under the rug than it is to be like, oh, you have questions, we have answers for you. And you find yourself on the Iliad, and you're doing your rounds, and I think I'm gonna say, yeah, you're on the Iliad. You're doing your rounds, and you've got your data pad and maybe like half a bagel hanging out of your mouth as you're like trying to do something. And you walk into this newly refurbished cafeteria that you all put together, and you see Jimmy's suite with 4 dolled up girls and a dog for some reason. And there's nobody else around. And you just hear from a distance, and it's like, and this is where you'll eat and train and work. And all these girls are probably 13, give or take, like significantly younger than the rest of the pop idol supergroup.
Yep. Immediately, she's gonna take the bagel out of her mouth and chuck it at his head in pure defiance.
I see. Oh, Captain Tamas. Hey, how's it going? I'd like to introduce you to 4 of your biggest fans. And they're like,
fans.
Well, yeah, they volunteered for the program as soon as we scouted them, and yeah, they're anxious to help out however they can. You know, administrative things, that sort of thing. You know.
Uh-huh. And they're a little young, don't you think?
Well, I mean, y'all started young.
This is just okay. Um, Volunteers are always great in my eyes. It's a team effort, and who am I to say who cannot be part of that team?
Yeah, that's right. And he walks over and he puts his hand around your shoulder and kind of
Oh,
leans and he's like, "You hear that, kids? We're all one big team here,
Jimmy,
all on the same side."
you keep them away from anything dangerous.
Yeah, wouldn't want a building to fall on him, eh? That'd be tragic.
Too soon.
Yep. And he's like, "Now over here, you're gonna find a place that makes crepes, and thankfully, it's stopped shooting fire recently." And he he like turns and steps away from you quickly, and the youngest of them, um, when I say dolled up, I don't mean like runway baby sort of thing. They're just like they're all children wearing makeup, and they're all wearing like school uniforms. It is very reminiscent of the old cadet uniforms that you all had back in the day, but very much more fashionable and fashion forward. One of the girls,
Generation.
it's a thing that happens.
Mhm.
You don't just get new shoulder pads every now and again.
Mhm.
Um, one of them comes up and says, "Hello," and
Hi.
like definitely looking like right up at you in your bubble.
Temris will bend down onto her knee and just kind of even that level up.
"Hi,
What's your
I'm
name?
Iggy."
Iggy. Well, it's very nice to meet you, Iggy. Very brave to be volunteering for us.
My parents died.
Oh, in the attack on the Bastion?
Yeah.
Very sorry to hear that.
Like it's all been a lot. Like it's been a couple of weeks because like almost immediately after it happened, a bunch of people with sunglasses like put me in a car and took me to a penthouse. It was
Mhm.
this whole big thing. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it's been a roller coaster. But you guys said that you needed my help, so here I am.
And you know what? You're going to be a great help.
Yeah. Uh, was I supposed to sign all the things with that fellow over there, or do like I wait, or like what?
Maybe I don't get caught up into that paperwork.
Oh,
But maybe I'll look into it a little bit for you. Make sure that it was done correctly and in your best interest.
I'd appreciate that. Some of it I don't read lawyer too good.
Yeah. And you know what? It's kind of my job to make sure the little guy's taken care of.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Captain.
You're welcome.
What So when do I have to like fight the monsters?
Hopefully not for a long time. You
Oh,
leave that to me and the rest of the team.
okay.
For a little bit, anyways.
I like it. Thank you. I appreciate that. And she like kind of straightens up and she like turns and she runs over to like across the cafeteria and she's like, "Guys, the captain says that we won't have to fight the monsters tomorrow."
Jimmy?
Jimmy's like, "Team player, team player," and leads the girls out of the cafeteria.
Oh my God.
How does Tamris feel?
She's visibly shaking. She is frustrated, worried, just about the safety of not just those girls, but everybody within the Bastion.
Mhm.
And she has a little bit of some hesitancy about their ability to make it better for everyone. She's kind of shouldering that on herself to figure it out.
These folks are slightly younger than Anne was when she started.
Immediately going to be thinking about going to talk to Anne.
The Tamris is astute, and there is a non-zero chance that the fault for a lot of this gets blamed on everybody in your group, and they cycle, or they attempt to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good idea.
No.
But there is a vast difference between the machinations of the commander and the machinations of Jimmy Sweet, idle manager to the stars. Unfortunately, they both have a pretty reasonable say in what happens. Contracts being what they are, you know.
Yep.
So, how does that make you feel?
Makes her feel defiant in a little bit of a way.
All right.
She almost like she wants the program to end with the current team.
I see.
Things need saving. Yes, humanity needs saving, but at what cost?
I like it. I'm just saying that Blades in the Dark was originally designed as a really good heist series. And if y'all are stealing mechs from beyond time and riding them through Pangea, I'm not going to stop you. That sounds like an excellent second chapter of Girl by Moonlight to run later.
Right now, the first problem is the monsters. The second problem is this little program.
You pick up that data pad that you were scouring through, and it highlights just how much damage the Bastion actually took. The Iliad, not a scratch. The attack came and went before a response could be done. If they had wanted to, humans would have been gone entirely before you could have gotten back to, right? But they attacked, they destroyed, they left back through that portal in the sky above.
What were they trying to prove?
Yeah.
Or who were they trying to take out, or what?
There's a couple of things that you've gathered, and just part of the role is history and mythology, and there's gods need followers in all senses, and they believe in them now. If they didn't before, they believe now, right? You never wipe them all out. You wipe half out, so the other half can tell their children what idiots the first half were. Something to that effect.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna need your obligation roll, and I think in this case, it's probably stars for the social pressure. You are responsible for so many people. Let's see what you got.
4.
That would be a 4. Your obligation roll for a 4 means 2 points of stress. in this case. So, like, it pissed you off, but it's not soul-shattering, world-crushing. I'll give you a moment. Is there anything that... what does Tamris do with this information? Where do they go next?
She would likely go to Anne first, just because she was the youngest, brought on. Just kind of have a good conversation there.
Good. That'll lead us to the downtime phase afterwards.
Perfect.
We go to Franklin. Franklin, so much tech has been yanked from the whiz at this point. And engineers are trying to figure out how it did what it did. But nobody except for you knows why it did what it did. But you know.
I do know, and I think that the realization of that has done something to Franklin.
Is Franklin primarily like wearing a tank top now and just like confident in his life?
No, I think that Franklin is having an extreme crisis of identity. I think he's peered into the shattered mirror of time and has realized that there is nothing special about him or anything or anywhere else. I think if Anne is the cute one and Xena is the tough one, and yeah, I think that Franklin is very clearly the weird one now.
Franklin saw how the sausage was made and is like, oh, the mystery is gone.
Yes. So I think his wardrobe and temperament is changing mercurially at this point. So I imagine while they're examining the wizard, he's just over there completely lit in black and white, playing on a piano over in the corner, very Casablanca, his shirt open, he's sweating and just defeated. Yeah.
I will say, because we talked a little bit about how he changed mechanically from the end of that last episode. What did he unlock in himself?
He unlocked a deeper understanding, and this is from the Stranger playbook. Okay. And so, yeah, when you're gathering in mechanically, how it works is when you're gathering info, you gain +1 effect. When a transcendent ally acts on the information you provide, they gain a link with you. So, gaining a link in the middle of a encounter.
I'll say, based on the circumstances, you fundamentally understand that it's not just like, oh, there's something dark, mysterious, and special about you. You understand intrinsically that the impulsiveness of the wizard, and that lost trait that he has, that's your bond with it more than its virtue. Like, Franklin can be brave 100%, but it's you understand both its virtue and its impulses at this point, to the point that you understand its second impulse now, which in this case is calculating.
Yeah, I think that I'm trying to figure out where that is on the sheet.
It's in the hangar.
In the hangar, got it. Yeah, I think more so than the wizard needing, than Franklin being the wizard's pilot, the wizard is Franklin's pilot at this point. This was part of its plan all along, because if they had known what it was before it did that, by making itself do it, they would have destroyed it.
Yeah. You, for all intents and purposes, can mimic the things around you for a temporary time. By the time the wizard got back to the hangar, it had fully reverted back to its polygon form. You're not even sure how many people technically saw that, aside from the live streams, of course, but maybe the tapes were destroyed. Who knows? You see a handful of folks just like there's parts spread all over Epic Park at this point. They've tried bringing in a chair for you, and they're like, well, maybe we just got to change the cockpit a little bit to get the responsiveness back, so we can get the telemetry of this thing and understand what's happening. And it's almost back to its perfect, like the way it was before they started chucking extra shit and mirrors inside of it. Right? There was so much added in for the sake of pageantry as well. Because they're like, we've wrote a character, and this is what we're gonna do with it. And it was just stripping away everything and being honest at the end of the last episode that allowed you to actually pilot the wizard the way it feels like being piloted. And you do get a say in the matter. What does Franklin do?
I think Franklin, when he gets inside, as he wants to redesign it, I think he wants it completely. He wants it as empty as possible, and then he wants lights, and he needs sound, and basically setting up the inside of the wizard to be a stage. And then there's just like a little director's chair there for him, and he's looking at this blank stage. He's just kind of looking at it and imagining all the different kinds of things it could be. And so that's sort of his cockpit now.
I like it. They one is, it's kind of dragging in glitter, because it's a secondary that they had from Romeo, and just shoehorning it in. It's just like a slug trail full of glitter at the end. But yeah, it's far less foreign and alien in that regard. It's still a standing bot for when you're in it, but not a lot's changed.
Yeah.
Like in the fundamentals, you still have your two consoles that you lay your hands into, and that can affect your communication and your change with it. But a whole lot less pageantry. Yeah, pageantry is the word I'm gonna stick with.
Hey, you're here.
Excellent. We have a fourth. I will add you into the scene. Bear with me just half a sec. Beep boop. Ba-doop-a-doop-a-doop. There we are. Hello, Ann. How's it going?
Hello. I'm good. Sorry for interrupting.
It is all good. We're just running through our obligation phase on Franklin right now.
Ooh, okay.
So seeing all of this and putting this work in, the mechanics here aren't terribly chatty. They're going about their business and the things that they need to accomplish. But as one of them's like, they're putting the stage in, and they're like, so is that you gonna wear that tail suit and top hat and shit? Where are you gonna put your cane?
Cane? I don't think that's really appropriate to the scene now. As I turn and look, there's like a megaphone on the ground, and I have on riding pants and riding boots. He basically looks like Cecil DeMille. He says, I think this might be a little bit more effective, as both of them are dressed as grips now.
I love it. Just it is truly foreign inside. He's like, I wasn't wearing that. The hell, you freak, and like runs out of the wizard.
Quiet on set.
He suddenly doesn't have a mouth while inside the mech. Just very Matrix. Stumbles outside, you hear a scream. And that's one of the first smiles we've seen out of Franklin in 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Body horror!
So, yeah, for Franklin's obligation, what do you think this sounds like?
It sounds a little like torture, but no. I wonder. Let's take a look. In your case, the only thing that you get to roll is Sun, because it's the lowest thing that you have.
Yeah, maybe it's consequences from everybody else being afraid of him and the wizard.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you were being the scary people in this scene.
True. All right, let's see what I got.
6 minus 4, 2 points of stress. I mean, life is digging into you a little bit, but it's not too bad. Not at this point.
Definitely
We're
be
gonna-
easier if he could sleep.
There is that. Has Franklin had trouble sleeping?
I don't think he's had an occasion to yet.
Okay. It's been about 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's
since
still
the attack.
kind of. There's a lot of stuff to read.
Got it. How much time have you spent with Wukong?
I mean, that's a little relative.
Since then?
I would say always and also never. So the relationship is very weird. But Wukong reacts to him for sure.
Wukong's been returned to Epic Park, where it was before. It's got an ankle monitor now, just in case. But they placed it just overlooking a hill, and it sits cross-legged. It's wearing its crown once more. They fished it out of the lake. And its eyes follow you anytime that you're walking to and from. It's like a taxidermy, all eyes on you.
As Franklin walks by Epic Park, he's kind of marching forward for a second. He looks and he sees Wukong, and Franklin says, "Not quite in the light," and he just kind of frames him with his fingers and moves a little bit. It's like right there, and then when he walks away, Wukong is in that position instead.
Oh my god. Your brain's more than a little messed up at this point. I would not hesitate to say that you're probably... It's not a quirk, but you're a little more eccentric than maybe you were a few weeks ago. Getting your brain scrambled has some effects sometimes. Anne, you find yourself on week number 3 of 14-hour days of a media campaign centered around a pink bandana that's flying off the shelves. Very Rosie the Riveter inspired sort of thing. It's like...
Yeah, absolutely.
And instead of we can do it, it's you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not I can do it. You can do it. Your dress is specifically tailored for you. There's no cute skirts
Nope.
and fashion. You get shoulder pads.
Yep.
You get power suit. Heels.
I was going to say, and really high heels.
And like a lapel pin.
Yep.
And just this pink bandana that's tied around your wrist. And you've had your picture taken with a shovel more times than with your own friends, it feels, at this point.
It just keeps it up, strapped to my back under my jacket. Like I need it everywhere.
Yeah. And overworked and hair out of place, you find yourself in the back of a sedan pulling up to yet another historic restoration site.
Mm-hmm.
Where yet another construction effort has taken place. They're unburying things, and it's PR all day long. Just meet and greets. They're trying to keep you front and center, pushing a very different image than what they were before.
She's got these really, I'm going to say slightly elaborate sunglasses, like big dark sunglasses that she wears in absolutely every shoot now.
Mhm.
The smile's dazzling,
Yes.
but the glasses stay on. Because if you take the glasses off, only so much that the cameras can do to take away that level of tired.
And puffy.
And blue.
There's constant chatter, catawampus, and people in the streets just, nobody wants a picture. Nobody wants what you're selling.
Yep.
Nobody wants you. You're being shoved down their throats.
Yep.
And the only pleasant part of this is that for the past 1 week, you have not heard a response back from Jimmy Sweet whatsoever. In any way, shape, or form. And you find yourself having played nice and said the line, and you hand the shovel off to an aide that puts it back into the trunk of the sedan or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 minutes, and you're downing a bottle of water and a banana, and just like,
Yep. Keep it going.
primal power food. Let's do this.
Yep.
And there's a grizzled old man in some knee-high looking boots that's just like resting on a rock and leaning against a pickaxe, and it's like, happens to everybody.
Happened to you?
Everybody gets pastured. He's like in his 60s but well built. It's like, people needed help though, so he help out.
Yeah.
It has the bearing of maybe an older soldier or something like that.
Yeah. She kind of glances at him up and down. Says, "Do you like it better when you got out?"
You never really get out. You just stop calling as much, and the bullshit never goes away.
Never gone away so far.
Probably won't. You believe all that stuff that you told everybody? No cameras on.
Cameras are always on. And
He gestures around to the like dilapidated building and the crushed columns all around you that would normally hold like the
Yeah.
CCTV and stuff.
she kind of glances down. Look, it's just like, well, can't take a chance on that. I might only get one shot.
That's a fair point and well made. Well, I imagine that there's a lot of folks out there that maybe they made it, and maybe if they didn't, they died knowing that maybe somebody was going to do something about it. So take a comfort in that if you can, I suppose.
She kind of nods quietly, readjusts her glasses, squares her shoulders, and goes, well, only you can do it. Whatever the saying was that you just told me that I can't remember to save my freaking life. She knows what the line is. I
Yeah.
don't know what the line is.
Yeah, insert corporate bullshit here.
Corporate bullshit here.
Yeah. He's like,
And she leaves behind a forest green ribbon.
what? He looks at it. He's like, not like you're gonna get fined for littering here. And he stands up and he like pushes into his back and he starts walking away. What's Anne's take on all of this?
Anne was absolutely devastated. There was She has spent a long time building towards a future where people would be safe. Her promise was that no one would die. She failed in a way that could only be topped if she had lost any of her team. And it is a small balm that they are all okay. As well as Franklin can be deemed to be okay after what he went through.
Look, you guys managed to sit down and like all have dinner together a little while ago, and aside from like having a few like weird conversation tangents, like he was fine. He didn't like start trying to eat his dinner plate or anything. Like he's not. He's like that friend that went to university and tried mushrooms or LSD for the first time. It was like, my mind has been expanded. Thank you. He's a little different, but you're not sure if it's better or worse. That's all.
Anne has been upgrading Romeo and making adjustments to his aesthetic along with her own.
How so?
Romeo has been hers for as long as she's been in the program. And he doesn't suit the look that they're going for anymore. When they decided that she was going to go corporate, effectively.
This is your Hillary Clinton phase.
It is my Hillary Clinton phase.
Your Leslie Knope phase.
Yeah. Yes. And focused on preserving what is at the very heart of Romeo. And was
the stage, the microphone.
It's not a stage anymore.
That's good because it's inside the wizard now.
I know my stage went missing one day, but that's okay. I requested that the stage be removed, and it was supposed to be over at the junkyard. But when I went to go double check that they got it out, it was gone. I haven't figured out where they put it yet.
Now, Romeo is full of mind-bending insectile like mirrors.
Romeo is full of roses.
Oh.
Dozens and dozens and dozens of roses.
I see.
And every day, Anne brings another dozen roses from the city and puts it into the cockpit. And has been doing so for weeks.
Is it a chair that she sits in? Do you stand now? Do you
stands in the middle of
motorbike?
what looks stands in what looks like a meadow of flowers at this point.
Okay. I like it. Thinking back to all of the things, the encouraging words that you've said to the populace over the years, you more than anybody. What comes next? Did you do a good job?
I did my job and it didn't do what it was supposed to do.
You did your job. Just because the job sucks doesn't...
I did my job and it didn't matter. Which means the job is wrong and I needed a new one.
You're going to be rolling Moon for this.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because it's heartbreaking, but because it's the lowest stat you have. Six minus 2. That's 4.
They mentioned
4
she's
stress.
devastated.
Funny how that works. And Xena. Can I get a mic check from you, please?
Hello. This
Check
is a
1,
mic
2.
check. Check 1, 2. 2,
I
1,
can
3.
hear you perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Xena, you have been collected. Almost every one of your safe houses and your networks have either been destroyed or compromised at this point. Not for a lack of, caution or anything like that, but due to the general, destruction of this place. You have been put in front of children, under 10s, constantly, every day, 10, 12 hours a day, explaining to small children what happened to them and what happens next. And there's a group sitting crisscross applesauce around Xena, sitting on a stool, and not having adult conversations with children. That's not what that is. It's the bigwigs are pushing a show of strength, and your image was based entirely on being the strong one, the tough one, the resilient one. And that's what they're trying to curate in these little people. And they're like, you are the right tool for this. Off you go then. Your handlers are there every day. And it is both troubling and a little cathartic because they don't know any better, right? And the questions sometimes are just nonsensical, like the way children are wont to be. But you find yourself around 10 small kids, crisscross applesauce, sitting on the floor, looking up at you, decked out in your badass attire. Some days they put you in your in your pilot suit, the whole 9 yards, just an icon to be seen. What do you say to them?
Considering that Xena has always been fairly authentic and just 1000% dead-faced, once faced with such innocence, like the kind of innocence you can't turn away from, it's mentally and emotionally draining. Especially if she has to repeat the same story over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And she would be looking for in the crowd of little kids, she would be looking for that one kid who probably lost their entire family. She'd be looking for that one or two kid who's an outcast, who feels like there's a certain kind of sadness about them that she relates with. And she would look for that one kid, and whatever words that she would speak would be direct towards that one kid.
Mm-hmm.
And she would say, even though it's an effort of power and even though it's an effort of strength from the authorities, she would relate to them in a sense of, this is what happened to the city. Gods came down and destroyed portions of the city out of nowhere. We don't know why yet, but we are working hard to do something about it, because that's what I do. I have to do something about it. And talking with you guys, I want to encourage you all and to be strong in yourselves, to find strength inside of you to fight for whatever you have. And she would do it in that regard, in just kind of like this mentoring kind of way, half believing what she's saying and then the other half just not believing what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And to the kids that have been desensitized by the whole shenanigans of what's going on, she will just look directly at them, not say anything, but give them a look to say that I understand. And as an adult, that's my job, is to understand where you're coming from. And then just give that silent show of support.
day after day, it's the same message, but told slightly different because, you know, you're not a machine. And there's a little boy, and you're finishing up, and it resonated with some of the kids. And he says, well, my dad says that you guys were supposed to stop them and you didn't on purpose, and that's why everybody died.
I would stop and look at them. If you had the strength, if your dad is that powerful and strong, then your dad is... She'll pause. She'll hold back and she'll look at this kid and she'll go, it wasn't on purpose. There was another emergency. We just didn't get here in time.
There's no videos of you guys going out at all. You were supposed to be here. You were supposed to save everybody. And
She will look directly at the kid and look right at him with like the saddest eyes. She's not even going to say a word. She's just going to give him the blue, like the cold steel look, the kind of look that adults shouldn't be looking at children, but it's the kind of look that you don't know what you don't know. And she's trying to be very kind about it.
Xena knows that despite your best efforts, footage of you guys scrambling to recover Wukong does not exist. One, most of the things weren't running at the time because the military doesn't like to advertise that one of its assets walked away. So, you know, everything was firing on half cylinders that day, but also something's been scrubbed. And it feels deliberate to Xena. All of this and having to deal with these kids. What's going through her head? How does she feel? What comes next?
She would ask the kid, who's your dad?
He's like, my dad could be your dad in a fight. And
I don't
runs
have
away.
a dad. So who's your dad?
Ran
He must
away.
love you
Just
very much.
Yeah.
She'll look to one of her handlers and
like
go,
6 years old.
she'll look to one of her handlers and she will just give a look like she's done for the day.
The stresses of the world kind of bearing down on you. I think for Xena, what is Xena's lowest? Lowest of the lows. Oh, it's Moon. I'll get you to roll Moon. This is no dice for Moon, which means you're gonna roll twice and take the worst of the two. Really laid real heavy into Sun, and taking the lower of the two. That's a 4. Oh, it rolled both of them for you. So you're gonna be leaving today with 2 stress. You're on mute. So 2 stress for Xena. As the classroom clears out and your handlers end for the day, and we take a step back and the camera zooms out, and sometime later than that we're gonna start our downtime. I'll get everybody to rollies. Just roll a d6 in chat. We'll see where we're gonna start. That's a 4, a 5, a 5. You know what, Tamris, you said that you were going to go find Anne.
I did, yes.
So we're going to start with you for your downtimes, and then we'll go to Anne for hers after you're all done.
Sure. She would probably seek Anne out where she's been spending most of the time lately, and that is probably intercepting a flower run as she's approaching her mech.
Okay.
Captain.
So formal. I just ran into Jimmy.
You have more work?
For the new batch of orientees.
What did you say?
He's already brought them in and showing them around. The youngest one is definitely, let's just say that when you started, you were much more ready.
What can we do?
I don't know. One that I talked to doesn't even have parents and mentioned not understanding the contracts. It's...
Did Jimmy recruit them?
I think so.
She looks down and rearranges the flowers a little.
Part of me wonders if they're recruiting from Xena's little PR tour. Those pep talks of being strong and getting volunteers.
Trying to save face, but what can't imagine what they think will change with the new batch.
That's...
They think the people need hope now.
I think that's the point, is the Bastion's convinced that this is our fault and we cannot be trusted, and so it's time to have a new face. But they don't understand that whatever happened, whatever brought them down, it was inevitable. It could have happened the next generation. It was a matter of time. And I don't think it was huge. I don't think any of us would have been prepared.
And looks really, really conflicted. Tamris, did you fill in my paperwork to Anne has been quietly applying to replace Jimmy.
I did.
You guys are a slightly paramilitary organization that is left under the guidance of the military for the purpose of operations, but owned by the government.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm being replaced. I'm just looking to take the next job.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody else hurt.
Me neither, but
You will.
if any of those children can fill any of the empty mechs, and then on ours as well. And if we're not in them, that's just more lambs to the slaughter.
Not if there aren't any children to fill the mechs.
Now, I know you don't mean it the way that you delivered it.
So okay. We've had more than this one really cryptic conversation. Go away, Jay. No one's talking to you. I'm talking to the captain right now. So, okay. Just because I feel like I'm being too. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so I want to. Oh, I super miss. All right. I want to infiltrate the program and disassemble it. And I'm going to do that from Jimmy's spot. And there's not going to be any more children in the program. Okay? Okay? I'm not murdering children. I'm getting children out of the program. Okay? Okay?
I am on board with you there.
By any means necessary.
I mean, she's very stressed.
I love it.
What do you need from me?
A glowing recommendation and a whole lot of luck.
You already had the glowing recommendation.
I'm going to need it from Jimmy's boss.
Neither of you are really certain who that is.
I have forwarded this to quite a few different departments and heads, hoping to figure out who the best person was. And I'm just getting a lot of, we'll get back to you in 3 to 20 business days.
And when you've talked to Jimmy about it in passing, he's always just like, kid, I report to a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
Above my pay grade.
I wonder
Having
if this
to actively remind myself that I'm supposed to be a good person.
the only thing that I can think of to track down who this higher person is, to maybe get our voices heard and make changes, is if we can get Franklin to look at a possible future, maybe a fragment of something, of what would it look like if we took down the program.
If we can't get the children safe, then maybe they need something less flying. Or maybe we need to get rid of something they're flying. And keep them grounded.
Destroy the mechs? Did I say that out loud? Make sure the mechs don't hear it.
Maybe they're tired too.
Maybe.
Off in the corner, Wukong with a newly rekindled sense of life is on a mountain like, what was that?
I'm just saying, maybe they're tired.
Maybe.
But yeah, Franklin's not a bad idea. Maybe we should talk to Franklin.
Maybe.
Before I insinuate that I'm going to murder small children again.
Who said they were small? Oh, God.
just the bigger children.
Just the old. Okay, so. No, I'm done. My foot is so far down my throat right now.
No, it's great. I love
That's
it.
the stress level talking. It's fine.
I love it.
Maybe don't go to the cafeteria. Stay away from there for a little bit.
Damaris, what were you trying to do with Anne here? Of your nine abilities.
To do. For this, she was definitely looking for a partner to help kind of like defy the program.
I'll give it to you. Show me potato salad.
And this is a controlled environment.
I'm gonna say because we're in the finale,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is so uncertain, very few things tonight will be controlled.
All right. Is it risky or desperate?
It's you're talking about taking down the program. That sounds pretty fucking desperate to me.
It does. All right. I got this. We've been rolling amazing.
Yeah, you'd be great. You'd be great.
I believe in you.
All
Not
right.
great.
So you do it, and make sure to mark your XP.
Mhm.
You do it. And as you're having this conversation, and your hushed tones and everything else, and the camera kind of pans back to a reflection in a ceiling, and there's just a single blinking red light. Somebody knows something about something.
Always, cameras are always on.
It's the thing. That said, 3 segments or links are given to Anne. You have a second downtime.
I do.
There's a puppy somewhere.
Yes, I apologize.
It's
The
all
other
good.
parent is not home, and so they're losing their minds.
It happens.
This is going to be Franklin discussion.
Okay.
Just let me
Franklin,
yell.
where does Tamris find you?
I think Franklin is I think he's clearing away rubble. I think he's very surprisingly, he's clearing away rubble with the wizard as its hands are just kind of moving as it's pulling stuff away. They kind of don't really mess with him and they just kind of let him do whatever, but he's just moving stuff out of the way.
So you find over near one of the walls of the bastion, a bunch of like power lines and towers have toppled up against the dome, and yeah, the wizard is there like pushing power lines correct, and like essentially doing heavy mech. What mechs were designed for originally is big handwork. And Tamris, you see this towering figure ahead of you, and not the first time. There's a construction crew here and there, and like doing things necessary, giving Franklin a wide berth, because there's only so many cameras, and getting stepped on is not a pleasant experience.
Franklin?
Hold on a minute. Yeah, as he pops out, he's a little bit he's definitely a little comedic. As he gets out of the wizard, he kind of falls and takes a tumble and gets up and dusts himself off. He looks normal. He's wearing his normal clothes, but he's a little bit more animated, a little more slapstick.
Are you buying into your own like pop persona?
I don't think he can control it.
Oh.
No.
So maybe someone does. At some point, maybe he did, and that's what's here. But he pops out. He's like, "Oh, yep, everything's great. Everything's going. Just getting out here, getting the debris moved out, and getting the new stuff built eventually." And that's what they're over there for.
Uh-huh. Speaking of new stuff being built eventually, that's kind of why I'm here.
Mhm.
They brought on.
You hear a loud whistle, like a steam whistle. It's like, lunch, boys!
Yeah, immediately a sandwich pops out as he's trying to figure out which end of the sandwich to start eating, as because it's such a large hoagie.
In the middle.
You're given a reasonable amount of privacy. Some of the workers are like, oh yeah, no, like I got things to do, and others look at you guys with contempt. It's a thing. About half and half,
Okay.
depending on which part of the podium they lie on.
Just kind of move away from those people a little bit farther. So new orientees were just given the tour of the Iliad by Ginny.
Mm.
Very young,
Hmm.
terrified. Yet somehow they are under the impression that they're going to be the saviors of the Bastion.
But we're the saviors of the Bastion.
Right. I think we lost the belief from a lot of the people here, and they're looking to replace us.
Mm.
And I'm just worried that this is going to cause more death and destruction. I did speak with Anne. Anne's idea is that she wants to try to take over Jimmy Sweet's job and kind of move us into higher positions, just to kind of protect the new people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that we actually don't know who higher ups are.
Oh. Yeah, you don't know who the higher ups are. Frankel thinks for a moment. Yeah, that would definitely make this more difficult.
Yeah, and with Xena's intel, mostly out of the game, we wondered if there was anything the wizard knew in his infinite possibilities, infinite futures, infinite pasts, if there was any insight.
Franklin looks and says, I don't know if that's really necessary here. I mean, Jimmy's a problem as he just whirls around and he's in like a zoot suit with a Tommy gun. He's like, Jimmy's a problem. Why don't we just rub him out?
This is the second person that is implied murder today. This is great.
This is not how Usagi solved her problems.
What is happening, everybody? We're losing it.
Moon, prism, gun.
We have all gone zero.
Oh, I see. You wanted to be quiet.
We've all
Make it look like
engaged the zero program.
you want to make it look like an accident. Maybe we can have him swimming with the fishes.
So is Franklin just a Looney Tunes character now?
Franklin is rapidly shifting between different interpretations of something that he's kind of riding a wave of it. And he seems very lost.
I like it.
But he very clearly does not want to use the wizard to try to do this.
Okay.
So he might need some convincing.
It might need his Space Jam powers.
Now, personally, Jimmy taken out would be fun. Imagining it, yes. But it would just be better if we ran him out, chased him, had him running scared.
Well, you know what we could do as he turns around again and looks a little bit elderly and I don't know, almost angelic. Says, you know, we could see what our lives would have been like without Jim. Indeed, I can imagine a world where Jimmy wished he never even existed at all.
Huh. Can you imagine a world in which Anne was the new Jimmy?
Oh, interesting. I would want to see that. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, so you want to, so how do we want to do this? But he'll give it a shot.
I don't know how your bot works, but give it a shot.
But yeah, he'll attempt to spin up the wizard and go looking to see what that looks like and do a It's a Wonderful Lifestyle.
Tamras,
yeah.
I think this is either going to be Express or I think Express is probably the one, actually.
All right.
You're trying to Frankly needed some convincing. You're trying to express how important this is to figure out.
I just repeated back his own words in a different direction.
Exactly.
It was really easy.
And you already used Defy.
Yep.
Not that you can't, but yeah. All right.
Oh.
So with a 5, you do it. But there's a consequence to this.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not really doing this so much, Franklin. I'll let you decide. This either damages Tamris's relationship with you somehow, because it's like, this isn't really something that he wanted to do. Or you do it, but this isn't really what the wizard was designed to do. And maybe it has a negative impact on you, like a harm. You choose.
I think it definitely harms him. He's willing to do it. He's at this point he's curious enough to see. and he wants to know. He wants to know more. As he pushes it, he spins the wizard up right there on the spot as the debris starts to, the dust blows away, and then more heavier things start blowing away, and then the construction crew is forced to retreat, and their crane falls over. Yeah, as it turns into a tornado.
Yeah. So very merry melodies, 100%. Golden age of cinema. Yeah, I think reasonably there's definitely something that stands out as a miss here. You spin it up and the shutters start to whirl. And Tamara, are you inside with Franklin when he's doing this, or are you waiting downstairs? You're outside.
Yeah, I would have waited outside. That's some private time in there. I've heard what happens when you go in. Xena expressed what colors came out of everybody.
You spin everything up and you look forward and things flash, and it's hard to control. I'm gonna get you to roll for me here, even though it's Tamris's downtime. In this instance, I think this is flow for you.
Okay.
You're trying to push an idea into the wizard and alter facts and change things around. I think flow is the play here.
All right.
And you'll get XP for stars for doing so. But we'll see how effective you are at it.
Let's see. There are no bonus stuff. Oh. Hey, that's a 5.
Yep. So you do it, and there's a consequence. You suffer severe harm. I would say you're successful.
Mm-hmm.
You push your thought into the wizard, and you're essentially trying to look at what today would look like, or a week ago or a month ago, but barring one tiny little thing. And time is fluid overall, and like Franklin understands chronology, and like the essence of chronotech and how it works, and you know how multiverse theory is a bitch. And Jimmy's gone in one sense, because you're thinking back on her questions and you're like, what if Jimmy was just suddenly gone? And Jimmy's gone and the girls disappear, like the new recruits. And you're left under the sole jurisdiction of Captain Bartok for a time. And you think about the interactions, and the press docket and tours and stuff just kind of die off. And then suddenly there's Jimmy again. And your mind flashes, and it's like, oh, that's weird. How can that be? And you like flash to a room that's full of tanks with Jimmy's this big and this big and this big and this big. All of a sudden. Very like Palpatine. And you're like, no. And you twitch a little bit. That I gotta stop watching so much stuff. That's weird. No. And you find that although you do it, you're getting these intrusive thoughts of it where it's hard to control. So you're trying to focus on, well, what if Anne took over? What if we have this hypothetical scenario where he's just suddenly gone, but how does he gone? How does he die? Who kills him? And you start thinking of all of the, like, you're doom scrolling in your own mind. What if Anne's the one that kills him? And you get like this scene of like her in a long billowy coat holding a smoking gun looking down at the ground. And just, your nose bleeds. It's too many probabilities hitting all at the same time. And you're left basically hypothesizing whether or not it would even be better. Like, the city doesn't seem prosperous when you're looking at it. It's almost like a fever dream, and you're like, no, I got to go back to sleep to finish this one off. Like that sort of sense is how Franklin's interacting with it. And you can absolutely picture a world where Jimmy just didn't show up for work tomorrow. That's a thing that could happen. And you feel like the details that you grasp from it put you under bar talk. There's no suddenly hidden benefactor old person that shows up and is like, I was the leader all along. Congratulations on your new pay grade. Like, none of that occurs to Franklin. He's got his own shit going on. And you take, Franklin, a level 1 harm from doing so, from the strain. It's a lesser effect, but it's something. I'll let you decide for yourself what fits best in that regard.
I think it's gonna. He stepped on the temporal rake. He
Ow.
ran into a fixed point in time that you can't maneuver around.
So he's scraped a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely, like, something whacked him in the face like that. It was there, and he should have seen it was there, but he didn't know he was going to stand on it.
I've actually stepped on a rake like that before. It really hurts.
Yes.
Like, it's a thing.
Also, temporal rake sounds cool.
Temporal rake. I like it. It's like the time knife. We've all seen the time knife. Like, the cabling comes down and Franklin comes out, and you see on his rolled up white sleeves there's a bit of mottled blood there, and kind of pushes it out of his wispy little mustache.
Are you okay?
He talks, but you can't hear him. You just see subtitled as he says Bartok.
Okay.
Very Daffy Duck. Very Daffy Duck.
Okay. So maybe it's not about taking Jimmy down a peg and putting up someone else in his place. Maybe it's just as simple as gaining faith back in us.
Cameras. Based on the roll that you had for Express, I don't know that you give... 2 marks will be given to... or 2 links will be given to Franklin based on your Express roll. And Franklin, I think that flow roll probably leveled up your stars.
Yes, it did.
You can apply that in real time since this is our last episode.
All right, cool.
Feel free to empty it out and put a mark in something.
That's what I'm going to do.
Tamris, I believe that's your 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to Anne. Where do we find Anne? Buying a gun for it? No.
And a billowing coat.
Let's be fair. Anne owns billowing coats.
Anne's coats are
just pink.
fabulous. She just took all her dresses and used them as linings on all her power suits now.
I like it.
I think Anne is gonna go talk to Xena
Where do you
in
meet
the
Xena?
cafeteria.
Oh, I see. That's some power gamey bullshit right there. I love it.
I know you do. It's the last episode. We're all gonna die. Let's talk in the
One
cafeteria.
dice to make your connections here. You find Xena chowing down. You find chugging bottles of yogurt. Got her beat. There's too many yogurts, and it's the hard stuff. I don't mean hard yogurt. Oh god, no. I'm sorry. Never say the word hard yogurt again. Oh, I did it again. You find Xena drinking yogurt.
Hi.
This is Alex's fault.
Hi. 1 second. I'm good. 1 second. This is really good. Nice suit. Doesn't suit you. Still nice though.
Thanks. Nice press conference.
Don't talk about
Doesn't
it.
suit you.
No, it doesn't. Should we? We should.
We
You wanna
should.
take my
I
job?
really.
Let's just switch.
I
can do
You
the
want me to
power
take your
suit.
job? Oh,
You could take
guess
my
I'm-
job.
I could collect them.
Gotta collect them
No.
all. What do you want, Anne?
You know, I'm not making a lot of headway.
Sit down. Have a yogurt. Talk to me.
It thuds heavily on the table.
Go away. I'm not making a lot of headway,
Hmm.
and I don't know if you heard, they've recruited a bunch of young kids
I saw.
too. Yeah. Did you know they were doing that when you went out?
I had a feeling, considering what kind of junket they put me on for 10 to 12-hour days. Yeah, I got it. There was this one kid who approached me, and it's like, my dad said that you were supposed to protect people. Why weren't you here? They don't know that half the city was protected because my stuff got destroyed, but it was because of my stuff that they were saved. So
We've never been allowed to save them without buying into the story.
no, we probably
You
shouldn't
ever-
be having this discussion in the cafeteria either. But sorry, I interrupted.
You know, it's ever thought, I was thinking about stories recently. Thinking about how we're all driven by them. Great stories. Really amazing stuff. We've changed people's lives. We've written a narrative that absolutely defines this place. We weren't able to save them. I'm not okay, Xena. I don't know how to save them. I don't know what my place is right now or what I'm supposed to be doing. I thought maybe I might look for a new line of work. That doesn't seem to be panning out the way I'd hoped. I'm not sure. Not sure.
I think, perhaps, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, out of all of us, you have always been the most empathetic and the most compassionate in terms of how you relate to others.
We lost thousands.
Yeah, we did. And there is such as a thing as survivor's guilt. You're not alone in this either. I mean, all 4 of us were there that day. We watched them tear our city apart. But it's not on us to save everyone. And I don't know why we have to keep pushing the agenda that we have to save everyone. To save everyone is impossible. That's an impossibility beyond our hands. What we can do is save the people that we have. That's the resilience of our story.
I'm gonna save us. We're gonna save us.
Zena's gonna look at Anne very deeply for the very first time. Like, it's almost like she's reading your journal, and like in a weird way, like just a weird, like, okay, I get this vibe. I understand it. This is new. This is something completely different from Anne. You should wear a pink suit. You don't want the yogurt?
I'll give it some thought. And
Pink
she'll take the yogurt.
I think you have a blazer in pink with like the puffs shoulders and like that green embroidery. I think that would look best with whatever it is that you're doing here. Go woman power, girl boss, hashtag whatever.
And you see her laugh for the first time in quite a few weeks. Kind of half chuckle. I am going to roll empathize, if I can.
That makes sense. Fits. You're not trying to forgive anybody. You're not trying to defy anybody.
Risky, desperate.
In this case, this is more risky than desperate. You're having a conversation. You know you were being recorded, and you kept your tones appropriate. So you do it. You're good.
Yep.
It worked. Because you rolled a 6 on your downtime, that's 4 links for Xena. What is your second downtime?
Second downtime, can I actually, I was thinking about this afterwards, can I actually roll into the interaction with Tamris from earlier?
Absolutely.
I'm
the one that she spent on you?
Yeah, that we
Yep.
already did together.
Wee boo 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 boo. Yep.
It's a very
It's all
Franklin
Alex's
moment.
fault. I want to be in Space Jam. Me. I'm the problem.
So that was a desperate defy, I'm going to say.
Okay. With a 3, I think this plays really, really well into the blinking light that I gave you earlier as your consequence. You're not physically harmed. I'm gonna say Anne takes 2 points of stress because you're going against a lot of what has been your nature and your routine for so long that even just having that conversation and saying those thoughts out loud, maybe for the first time with another person, stuck with you. This is a hard day.
Yeah, I'm good.
That said, with a 3 on your downtime, Tamris, you get 2 links. And just going back, I think, yep, it's going to be Xena in this case. Xena, you have 2 downtime activities. Do you want to spend it with your friends? Do you want to spend it building the ship? You want to spend it working on something? Time with Beowulf? What's it going to be?
I think she would be spending time with Beowulf, but she's going to do it in a way that she takes whatever repairs that can be done on Beowulf, she does them. But she takes Beowulf off in kind of like night mode after her press junket. She's like pushing herself, 1000% pushing herself. She's probably getting 3 to 4 hours worth of sleep each night since the tour junket has been going. But after the tour junket is over, she always goes down towards Beowulf, rests, relax with him, and just tells him to just go autopilot and go to somewhere within the city where they can clear out some rubble and just watch for families or kids or people that are just trying to make light, like she's trying to find light places where there's people who are not particularly well, but not particularly going to be hostile towards her or Beowulf either.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what Franklin was doing with clearing the rubble, except again, similar fashion. When she does things on her own, she just kind of goes off and does it closer towards where there's no eyes really seeing things.
So, Beowulf being the size of a building, it is a challenge to do anything stealthily when every step rumbles a city block. But you are able 100% to find areas in the city where there are onlookers, but it's safe to be, right? That you can do some good. Beowulf with his suddenly hands, that didn't go back when you parked him last time. Still bipedal. Lithe. The arms are a little longer than a normal humanoid would have there. It's so the sway is a little bit disheveling to you. Think like how monkeys or gorillas have slightly longer arms, orangutans. Clearing out rubble. I give you that for trying to engage with Beowulf. In this case, for Lynx. Go ahead and roll. Based on what you're doing, I'm gonna say something like this is probably, I'm gonna call it empathize, because you're looking out for the little guy, right? You're taking the time that maybe not somebody else or not everybody else is.
Is this a risky, controlled, or
this is absolutely risky, in a physical way, because you run the risk of potentially stepping on a person while you're trying to help them. You may have missed it at the very beginning because of the nature of the last round and the feeling towards you and the sense of urgency that everybody's in. Almost nothing tonight is going to be controlled. Everything is a little tumultuous. So with 4, that's going to be 3 links given to Beowulf specifically. What about your second?
I think I was spoken with Anne quite a bit regarding that situation, and also similarly, she would have been keeping eyes on Franklin and Tamris. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, beggar by the toe. Dollars, let them go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I think I'm going to go with actually, I think I'm going to use Anne, like that interaction with Anne. I think I'm going to build links with Anne. Oh, I cannot hear anybody. Why can I not hear anybody?
No, we're all muted.
No.
Oh, okay, there we
Sorry,
go.
You're good.
I muted myself for a second there. based on the conversation that you had with Anne and how that went, what do you think would be the appropriate role?
I feel like it's more of an expression. Or no, you know what? I think she's trying to conceal her feelings from Anne to a degree. Because
Okay.
she was the one who was listening. Like she was listening and she was present. She was there. But she didn't say specifically what was on her mind. She
I
was
like that.
there as like a soundboard kind of thing.
Go ahead, roll conceal. With an extra die because you were in the cafeteria. Melissa, did you roll an extra die for the
I
cafeteria?
didn't roll. I forgot. I didn't roll with an extra die on mine.
Okay. All right. With a conceal, in a risky position, a 2 is going to be 2 links for Anne. And I'm just going to scroll up in Roll20 here for a sec.
Mine was a 6 and a 2. So if I roll once more, because it could be a critical success if I roll another 6.
Yeah.
Can I just roll a d6?
Yep, just roll a d6. Ah, we're good. All right, so that's 2 for Xena. And that brings us to Franklin, having rolled the lowest on our initiative order.
Indeed. Yes.
What are you thinking?
What is Franklin doing? I think in those moments where Franklin feels very tuned in, he doesn't want to. I think he wants to use the fact that he has been improving environmental controls to try to do something as a cover for him to do something devious, because the wizard is in control. And I'm trying to think about the things that we've wanted and how we want to do things. So I think that he wants to attempt to spy on either Jimmy or Bartok.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that. And what do you think that would be? Do you think that would be a project? Do you think that would be assisting anybody else? No.
I think, given Franklin's understanding of the military systems and his position and the level of access that he has, that this is less a project and more of a role.
Okay.
In a specific case, because we are in our finale, a project wouldn't necessarily be completed.
Right.
So I'll say it's a role, and in your case, you're probably looking to.
I think this
perceive.
Perceive. That sounds about right.
I give it to you for conceal, maybe, depending on what you're trying to do.
Around, essentially, yeah. I think he just wants to sneak around and see, because he saw something when Samris tried to get him to do that, and he has to know. Again, the same reason he delved into the wizard in the first place. He has to know. So yeah, I think he's gonna creep.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll conceal. This represents you trying to get a bead on the comings and goings of people's using technology. This is going to be either really good or really, really bad. That's a 6. You do it. You do it.
Yeah.
Neither hide nor hair. This is probably going to count towards interfacing with the wizard for the purpose of links.
Yeah.
So given that it's a 6, that's going to be 4 links given to wizard.
Nice.
What you find in your voyeurism is Bartok's day-to-days. And they have their standard routine. She goes about her business. She is generally in the gym earlier than most. Takes her meals in the cafeteria with the early morning staff, and are brought to her through the rest of the day. Bartok has a very Tamris sort of feel to her, right? In tone, in approach. She's seen some shit, and has never been a terribly like unforgiving boss. She's been unreasonable a bunch of times, but like when you inevitably fail at the unreasonable thing, she's not like, oh, look at you being a failure. Like it's a thing. It's certainly a personality flaw, but yeah, you still work here, and she has a reputation for being the toughest lady in the room. Whether Franklin actually believes that is not up to me to say. But that's the bead that you get trying to track the movements of Commander Bartok. There's no clandestine meetings or anything like that. Even the stuff that you do observe, there were a few scenes of like Jimmy the Sweet taking like new recruits around and stuff, and you witnessed a bit of an argument there, just on a security feed without audio, but like the faces said a lot. And like somebody pulled a sword, it was a thing. Like Jimmy slammed his hand down on a desk and had a sword pointed at him immediately, like it was a thing. There were some papers on the floor, and he left. That's what you kind of pull from it. As you watch Jimmy, he's constantly sipping from this flask in his coat, super ornate and emblazoned with gold filigree, silvering. You see him steal a bunch of pens. Like, he didn't need to, but he did. Like, he goes and he like pulls one off of a janitor cart and like puts it in his pocket, kind of thing. Like it wasn't necessary. He bypasses the majority of the training facilities. Doesn't ever look at Epic Park because it doesn't matter to him. This whole thing from the point of the city is we just want to live our life. Like what you're doing is pageantry. That's not for everybody else to worry about. Why should we have to worry about these things? You're the problem. Like every time people see you, they stop thinking about what we want them thinking about. And they start thinking about what's outside. This is your fault. That's the general vibe that you get from the going-ons of Jimmy. That's his general approach to life, we'll say. He and his betters, or the people he represent, don't want any of this to have to exist. And they'd prefer if everybody lived like it didn't. And if it has to, it's going to exist the way that they're spinning it. And you're using the wizard and interfacing here. And you can't help but like think about kind of stuff. And you get those intrusive thoughts where it's like, yeah, but what if it was just those kids instead of us? And you see a vision of like a bunch of people stuck in dinosaur land, and like papers and like press conferences where it's like, how were we supposed to know that they were so strong and that these kids were going to be so weak? Like it's not our fault. And somehow Jimmy always seems to live in every stretch of it. You see a flash of Jimmy on the barren wasteland being pulled in a cart and telling people what to do. Like the cockroaches always make it through kind of deal. But they don't know that it's such a bad idea, but it's almost like they're willfully ignorant of it. Yeah. How's Franklin feel about that? What else are you looking for?
I think Franklin feels angry about encountering something that he still can't understand. He thought that there maybe, because of what happened, there was some grand conspiracy, but he still doesn't know. He's still furious about it. And I think that anger kind of makes him so upset that he kind of he starts to close off. Not completely, but just close off enough where he's just trying to find anything to help them. His motivations, I think, if you remember, where he wanted to be his promise was to be a strong member of the team, and his naive promise was to end the war quickly. Yeah. To be a strong member of the team, he wants to help. He wants to help everybody else get back on top. He was really hoping that this would get some dirt, but failing that, he wants to go into the wizard and try to understand more. So I wanted to check for a second action, because he's so frustrated at this, there not being any threads to pull at. Would make preparations help, because I have my deeper understanding, and so I gain more effect on gathering information.
What kind of things so make preparations generally in this instance are things to do with the Iliad?
Yeah.
So in what way would it interface with that?
I think he wants to try to take over the Iliad to see if the Iliad tracks where these monsters are and when where they're coming from. I want it to try to track where the next one is, and events will occur as such that we're the only ones that can deploy to handle it. So I think he wants to hack the Iliad, and essentially that way, whenever we are fighting this thing, whenever you guys act on the information around this, you get a link. So I feel like that is a way of generating more links for more people.
That, so with your sync ratio ability, is just going to cascade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully this can get everybody a bunch of links.
I would say trying to double down and use the wizard in such a way is going to be stressful.
Yeah.
I think so ready. I want to treat this like taking a bonus dice to push yourself. So I'll let you roll for this, but it's going to cost you 2 stress.
That's fine.
And again, instead of filling up a clock in this case, because of where we're at, this is 100% a defiance.
Makes sense.
But you get a bonus die on it because you're pushing yourself. So you just roll 1d6 in this case.
Let's see it. Let's let it rip.
That's a 6.
Back to back.
That's double 6s. There you go. A 6 that you didn't have to begin with.
Whew. Yeah.
So you do it. You create a direct link between the wizard and the Iliad's sensor telemetry. And you hack it into your morphin communicator, and you're fairly confident, based on the work that you've done, that you're taking advantage of existing connections in that regard. All of your epics have a direct link with the Iliad. You've just made it 2 ways, and maybe removed the ability for them to kick you out of it. Put a password protector on the Iliad, or on the wizard. Sorry, I've locked my workstation before I leave. Yeah, the moment something happens, if you deploy and you act on that knowledge, you'll all get a an extra link when your transcended allies act on that info. I like it.
Nice.
With that, were you intending for that to be? So that's just pushing deeper.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily a second downtime activity.
Okay.
That's just it's pushing for a bonus die. You earn the stress, and off you go.
Well, then my second die is gonna be with Xena. I wanted to try to form a link there. Yeah, that would be my second downtime action.
All right.
Yeah.
Where do you find Xena?
You
set the stage. You're the wizard.
Set the stage. I think in the in Epic Park with Beowulf and Wukong is there.
All right.
So Xena is in Epic Park. She's with Beowulf. She's probably gotten like 3 hours of sleep by this point. By the time you arrive, she's probably she's probably cleared up some rubble and probably actually helped move a couple things. She feels bad because she stepped on somebody's store. Thankfully, nobody was in there, but she wasn't as careful as she hoped. Her motor function isn't as good as it usually is.
You suddenly have less legs than before.
Definitely. She's currently napping with Beowulf, as well as like watching Wukong. Like she's just napping on the bridge of the nose of Beowulf right now.
Just slightly off in the distance, you see leaning against its stone, sword buried into it, in a very similar motion to what Xena is taking, is Excalibur, the other epic that exists in the park without a partner. And it's such a weird weeping angel sort of thing to like turn, and then something so big is in a different position.
Right.
And the visual scaling is so weird because it's just grasslands and everything's scaled to them, and you're so small. But you come across Xena and Beowulf, chillaxing, relaxing, and maxing all cool.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you if you could come down here. Wake up! Come on down here. I wanted to.
Okay. She jumps down. She does a roll and she looks really cool about it. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing here. Or do you?
No, but I don't like Jimmy. That helps.
Yeah.
She looks around at the cameras and she does like you can tell she's flipping the bird mentally.
Yeah, I think what he wants to do is he wants to get on Xena's nerves. He's trying to figure out if maybe he can change something about the future or what he's seen. He wants to try to do that, and he wants to see how Xena handles it, because at some point Xena's doing something.
Are you piloting the wizard walking up in that regard? Or are you trying to do this as yourself?
As ourselves. We're there, and I'm basically want to see if I can push her buttons enough to reinforce what everybody else has said, and see if I can get her to see if she believes that we're responsible for this, if she really believes it.
That probably come down to some kind of how do you want to try?
I want to try. I was thinking I was thinking empathize, because Franklin is really trying to feel some of these emotions himself. And all he has is what other people say to go on. And he's looking for a reason to maybe disagree with this. And maybe he's hoping that Xena will say something, anything to convince him that it's not true.
I'd give it to you. Sure.
Yeah. So what did we say that was? Empathize?
Empathize.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I think he maybe goes too far.
What does he say specifically?
Is he talking about, it had to have been our fault. I mean, think about it. We're trying to handle our own Wukong. We couldn't even get that taken care of to protect the city. And then at the same time, I mean, what are we doing? Are we studying these creatures, trying to find anything about them? No, we're figuring out how to sell more toys by turning our wolves into guys.
A very complicated expression crosses Xena's face. Xena doesn't get, like, her anger is the kind of anger that I don't think Franklin has gotten into yet. Like, I don't think she's ever really gotten angry with her teammates. But as he's saying that, she's just nodding because she agrees, but she doesn't like show any emotional response. Her face is blank. She's in full resting B mode as she's trying to figure out what Franklin is trying to do, because she knows that Franklin is a very logical individual, and she's like, what is this kid trying to do here? Whatever it is, it's failing miserably, but okay, I'll just play along with it and nod. It's not really convincing or needling her in any way, shape, or form.
Given how badly this goes, you are completely unsuccessful in trying to bring her along to your line of thinking that it was actually all your fault. You've gained nothing. Xena, however, has gained 2 links from you.
Franklin starts to kind of fizzle out at this point, as you can see his appearance kind of changing again. As his hands go behind his back, he has kind of a stoop and a dour expression. He says, in the end, life, death, doesn't matter. The universe is cold and uncaring. As you start to get more and more worried about him, he begins to get like more and more out of touch and almost Hitchcocky and pale.
He goes black and white all of a sudden for some reason. It's like, it's like upload.
Xena is going to do what Xena does in this kind of instance where she kind of just shoulder checks Franklin. Come on, let's go to the cafeteria. I hear they have matcha tea. They figured out how to make that machine work. Want some? You're on mute.
He comes back for a second. He's like, wait a minute, they fixed it?
Yeah, they did.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah.
They did.
I like it. So you take, aside from wasting the opportunity, this is a minor harm because of the roll that you got as well. So this is something, it's either stressful, irritating. Again, it's a level 1 harm.
I think maybe ain't right. Everybody on the team knows that something really ain't right. It's inexcusable at this point.
I like it. And with that, you find yourself aboard the Iliad, walking down a corridor. It feels a little suspicious because Xena, you're fairly confident that Franklin was outwardly trying to manipulate you into something there in a way that he's never done before. And as much as you are handling the situation, it is sus. Super sus. And that brings us to where we're going to go to break. Because as everybody is taking their time and rationalizing what their current world is, a faint shot of electricity appears over the city. Just sparks. And a line is drawn from horizon to horizon, and two hands pull it open, hollow style, and the pushing through is a blue-headed dragon and a yellow-headed firebird and a white-haired tiger crawling back through. As the fog dissipates down out of this crack in the sky, and they take steps onto platforms that aren't really there, looking down at the open holes in the biome and the small shipyard that houses the Iliad. And you see this wicked grin kind of appear on them again. And come back for more. And now it's time to go to break. We got 8:13. Call it 8:30. We'll take some time, do what people need to do, and we'll be back shortly. See you soon, everybody. Back to the round table. Hello again. It's time. Bear with me half a sec. I'm going to clear off a flashing timer from you guys so you don't have to look at it for the rest of the night.
I mean, it would increase our levels of stress.
It did.
Well, I mean,
For sure.
if you like, I can play a klaxon in the background the entire time.
No,
could just-
all good without a klaxon.
Just mute the klaxon. It's fine. This is fine. Don't worry about it. Where was I? Oh, yes. Everything is awful forever. Bear with me a moment. Show me potato salad.
Forever is relative here.
The sky opens. And pulling their way out of a Terran reality are 4 cardinal gods. Yako the white tiger, Seryu the blue... Sorry, 3. Spoilers! 3 cardinal gods. Yako the white tiger, Seryu the blue dragon, and Suzaku the red phoenix. Firebird. And thanks to Franklin's proper planning, preventing piss poor performance, we are rolling our position roll from a controlled state. Please go ahead, Franklin, since it was your action, and roll for me.
Oh boy, what do I need to roll?
This is just a fortune roll.
Okay. Where's my fortune roll? But let's see.
It's just above.
Oh
teamwork.
no, I rolled it at 0. Should be a 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All right. So it should be at a 1, but you shouldn't roll a 1. That's not usually what you're looking for. This is absolute utter chaos. And you find yourselves in the bastion, there for what you acknowledge in your heart of hearts to be your last stand. The Iliad, upon getting this reaction, was positioned well, went to take off, and caught a strike of blue lightning through its back 2 engines immediately, jettisoning it sideways, and it lands kind of on one nacelle. And everybody, you're not in space, so everybody's like up against the wall and like doing the Star Trek thing. And you find yourself without additional aerials. You are aboard and are ready for your final magical girl transformation sequence. And I'm going to use it because I put time into it for this. And we're going to start with Xena. What do you do?
Xena is automatically running like on 2 legs, and then the way it transforms, she's running alongside Beowulf, and then it's like that cool like a bit of wind goes past across the screen, and she's up in the air, and she's like landing straight into her driver's seat. And instead of just her in a bike kind of suit, she's almost like decked out fully body costume of in similar fashion as her now bipedal form of Beowulf.
I like it. And Beowulf like extends out of a landing platform and Gundams themselves up and into the sky. There's a little booster on the back sending you up. Franklin.
I think Franklin is going to see what's coming and see how terrible everything is, and he just starts to break as he's moving down the hallway again, and people are instead of them like plug suiting him and giving him the pills and everything, they're like helping him put on his shiny jacket, and the pants go on and everything else as he goes, and then it's still that white hallway. It just kind of transitions into the stage of the wizard. He sits in the chair, he has his hands on the controls, and he's just peering out, and you can see it's just like sweat and tears kind of going through his makeup, leaving like long white lines on his face as he gets ready.
Okay. Tamris.
So, she's utilizing the little volunteers in a sense, very much musical Matilda style, where it's girls in school uniforms, a little terrified of the big bad bully, and she stands in front of them, hands on her hips, and just ready to go. And then she launches herself right into Goliath, and it's the same arms out, legs out into the fists, and ready to go.
You see one of the little it was Iggy.
Iggy.
Yeah. And they're like, and again, Goliath equipped with a booster on the back, and it jettisons you forward and up and up and up.
Anne runs up Romeo's outstretched hand and kind of very anime girl jumps in front of the heart and morphs in through the chest piece and lands in the field of flowers and looks around at her and says, "I won't forget you," and looks at all the flowers, one for every lost soul in the bastion. And the petals flow in the wind and swirl around her. And when they go out, she's dressed much like Romeo with a flowing cape made of flowers, holding a rapier, and just sees the screen in front of her ready to go and takes off.
She's gonna Nintendo Wii sword fighting this. I love it.
She sure is. I mean, she was DDRing before. Now we've upgraded.
I like it. As you launch out, something occurs to you. There was no stream in your cockpit through all of that. It's not broadcast. The people that helped you get ready were there. But it was for you. Nobody's seeing your faces right now. Nobody's seeing what you do. The people of the giant TV screens and hollow screens that are positioned intricately around the city so everybody never misses a single second of the action are destroyed, non-functional, or just weren't turned on. And you're boosting and boosting up through the top of the dome above, and there's blasts of blue lightning breath streaking down through holes in the dome, and fireballs being dropped like meteors slowly descending down, shattering glass, sending it ripping through town. And just the top of a building being pulled sideways by a massive burly cat. There's 3 of them and 4 of you. What do you do?
We've always been a team. No sense splitting up now. One at a time.
Point and shoot, Captain. Point and shoot.
Oh,
You're muted. You're muted.
Yes, Captain. I'm gonna use my connection with the captain and my inspiring feeling to to lose 2 points of stress. One of my connections with her for a second here.
Calm down.
Great big deep breaths.
I like it. And sorry, that's your which ability?
No, I have connection. I have points with Tamaris.
Oh,
So
yeah,
she
you're
is
spending a
leading
link.
the chart. I'm spending a link
Yeah.
on myself to be
Okay.
a little less stressed because she's calming me down because she's going to hold my hand and be
I
my
like
friend.
it. I like it. That seems relevant. You were approaching this from a controlled avenue. The roll was dog shit. It was controlled. However, you're coming into a very bad scenario.
Yep.
I'm going to say, based on the chaos that has erupted and the position that you had to launch from, Tamaris, roll me a d6. Just a d6. Cool. As you're ascending towards the vast opening in the dome that these three mighty creatures have come down through. Oh, bear with me half a sec here. I forgot to click a button. As you're ascending to where these creatures were, chaos surrounds you. There is smoke, there are screams, there are towers toppling. London Bridge is indeed falling down. Somebody went and got it from time and brought it here, and it's fucked. Like, yeah. And based on the roll, as you're heading in, all four of you in formation the way you're supposed to before engagement, you feel a tug as something, a flash of white comes up, pulls at Romeo's flower cape, and plummets them down into a dusty abyss below you.
Can, just out of curiosity, do I see that? Would I have seen that? I know I was first, but do I see that?
You would, yeah.
I'm going to use my
You see
data
Romeo
function.
like this,
Oh,
sinking down.
I don't
My chair's
think
not
it
made
may-
to do that.
Okay, I'm going to expend one of my links to Anne.
Yep.
If possible, so that some of that damage.
So they can ignore one harm tag if they
Yeah.
take it. All right. Anne, you are set upon by a massive white tiger that dwarfs Romeo. Like, think small. Think infant standing in front of a greyhound. That's Romeo versus Byako. And it's got claws sunk into the back of your mech and is dragging you down to the ground where it plans to play with you. What do you do?
As established in episode 2, I release the cape
Yeah.
and I try to get away.
All right. What are you rolling to do so? Are you?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna say
I'm
that's
not making
probably-
this an attack with a resistance sort of thing because I just set it upon you.
That's flow. We're gonna use the pressure against it to like spin away and go up in a
That
very
makes sense.
flowy way.
All right.
Oh, this is so desperate, isn't it?
Because of Xena's use of a link, if you roll poorly, you will not take harm.
Okay, desperate. Standard. Yes. Nope. Yeah, that's a
There it
six.
is. You do it. You successfully do it.
Oh, there's definitely a trail of petals
Oh, yeah.
behind him. Absolutely.
100%. And it like leads into an epic swirl as you go, as you free yourself and you find yourself face to face with the tiger, the size of the building. What are you doing?
Defensive stance.
Defensive stance.
Be like, and I'm going to call out to the god. What do you want?
All right. And your friends? Cameras, Franklin, Xena. Romeo went down. Xena gave clipped Romeo's foot as they were in free fall, and they were able to right themselves, and it kind of half released one of the pauldrons, hence the help. What's the rest of you doing? The three of you are in the sky witnessing this. You cannot see Romeo where they are right now.
Xena would have seen would have felt where Romeo last was, and would have seen a portion of the tiger. She's going to grab the tiger by the tail.
All right, so jetting down, changing your trajectory down into the dusty landscape below, you cut through and you can't see anything until you start making out a shape of Romeo with a rapier in one hand and like a matador's cape in another, standing in front of a tiger, and approach from behind.
Yep.
How are you approaching this? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm pouncing like a dog pounces on a cat.
I mean, in terms of your abilities.
I'm defying this creature. This creature just hurt my friend. Oh, it's going to have to face me now.
All right. Anne, what are you doing in reaction to this as Xena comes in to try and take on this beast and or aid you? Do you have an ability? Do you have a move that you'd like to attempt with them?
So I can I'm gonna just try and I think I'm just gonna distract the creature.
Okay.
I have perfect pitch.
And she never lets us forget it.
Why would she? She's got perfect pitch. You know what? It soothes the troubled hearts of foes. I want to try and see if I can get this god to calm down.
Oh,
I don't want to fight anymore. People keep dying.
That is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to forgive the god for what they did. And try to forgive myself at the same time.
Oh, all right. Roll an extra die on this because of your perfect pitch. This is some pretty dire circumstances. Like,
Got it.
This is not controlled in any way, shape, or
form. So for when I'm doing my defy roll, should I just roll desperate as well?
In this case, I think this comes to assisting a teammate because of what you're doing. Either by taking one stress into yourself to give her a bonus roll, because she's in front of the thing and you'd be behind. It makes more sense for her to be the defiant one in this regard, or the active role for it. So I would give you one stress, and then Anne, roll an extra d6, please. All right. There's a consequence. I'm gonna say, as your voice reaches out, and the tiger hears, and it responds, and it turns its head and it swipes hard, and it's just about to take Romeo, claws through the chest. We didn't get the opportunity to apply that negative or the harm mitigation from before because he didn't take any harm. Yeah. So we'll use that now, because Xena's there, grabbing a cat by the tail and just reefing back, and it pulls it just out of reach.
Am I able to jump in and use protect a teammate and face the danger on her behalf?
The harm here is reduced already, but absolutely that's thematically appropriate too. Because it's going to turn and it's going to start going for Xena immediately anyways, and having Goliath land in front and do...
When I protect an ally, I can take 1d to the resistance roll.
Yep.
Basically just...
All right.
Block it. Take the shot.
Go ahead and because as it turns, like it sounds like it started to take effect. Like it heard you and you made sense, but it's not just gonna stop. They're like, yeah, no, it sucks that people die, absolutely. Rawr. I'm a giant tiger. It didn't seem to care as much. And it turns and it pounces towards Xena like a cat with its tail grabbed is absolutely going to do. And as it brings its bulk in, again, you guys are yay big and this thing is like pretty massive. You're fighting a combine as a human kind of deal. You see this massive round shield just burst out of Goliath's forearm, Spartan style, and it just takes the full brunt. Go ahead and roll me a resistance roll, please.
How do I do that again?
I believe in these character sheets, because we've done them before, it is...
It's a type of roll, so once you click what you're going to use to resist, it's an option in the drop down.
Yeah. And I think this one's probably a defy.
Yeah. And I get to add, and this is desperate or risky?
In this instance, it's you're Goliath. You can shake off a bunch of shit. This is risky for you.
Yeah.
I'm a merciful god.
And we are transcendent?
You are, yes.
Whoa. Bonus dice 1. Crap.
All right.
This has got hurt.
Yep. That's a thing.
That's a hurt.
Things go very poorly. You have two choices.
Mm-hmm.
Goliath is going to lose a limb, or you burn your special armor, and your big, heavy, protective shield on Goliath is gone.
Or I can spend a link and prevent one harm, which I'm going to do. And neither of those things are going to happen.
So they can ignore the harm tag in an instance by spending a link. It doesn't prevent the harm unless you have a special ability. They're not affected by it for a time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Later, it won't hurt as bad.
It won't hurt as bad. But later, they'll feel it.
All right, let's go. Let's take a limb. That sounds challenging in a fun way.
All right. What hand was the shield in?
The shield was in the left.
Below the elbow on Goliath, there are sparks and a weird, like, purple with glitter inside fluid dripping out. It's like stardust. And Franklin, from the sensors of the wizard, you see fully concentrated chrono juice.
Oh no.
Just dripping out of Goliath.
Oh,
That is
fun.
time itself dripping on the ground.
Oh.
It's purple because the tiger's in front of you. It spits the shield off to the side. What are you going to do? Franklin, you're taking all this in.
I think Franklin is going to, while this is happening, he's going to try to keep the dragon off of everyone's back.
Okay.
It's difficult there, but like this is going to be, they need room to fight. So I think he is going to want to, I think he's going to try to make contact with the dragon. He's not seeing things very clearly right now, but he is going to spend a link with the wizard to try to get it to focus and to ignore temporal rake, because I am going to try to I'm going to try to use confess to see if I can make this dragon connect with the wizard, and maybe the wizard starts to morph into a more draconic looking shape as it tries to communicate why this is wrong.
What do you think? I think this is probably empathize?
I was thinking empathize or confess, because I'm not exerting any control over it. I'm just I'm telling it literally everything.
I think since you're trying to mimic its shape and like take on its form, empathize probably fits.
Perfect. And what's the position?
You're fighting a god over a city.
Yep.
And you're now alone, so it's gonna be desperate.
Perfect. Can I spend my special armor to increase the effect? I think you can do that with heavy gear.
Yes, you can. So it would take it from a desperate to a risky position.
Well, I wanted to increase the effect. It's still desperate, but I do. Is it standard? Is it great? Is it extreme? That's yeah.
Because you're improving your position on the roll by doing it, by expending it.
The effect on the roll. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought heavy gear was improve the position on the roll.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. My bad. So yeah, I'll change that to it'll be risky.
Yeah, it'd be risky instead of desperate.
Yep.
And is there anything you want to spend? Or sorry, you were spending a link with the wizard
to ignore time rake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to spend another link for more?
I'll pop another one. Yeah, I'll recover 2 stress.
All right.
That as well.
Go ahead and roll empathize.
All right, let's see. It's a 3.
I see. It responds back poorly. It sees you taking on its shape and immediately flies into an aggravated rage, and you hear echoing through your console, and you're not sure if this is a voice in your mind or a voice outside loud enough to penetrate through the layers of the wizard. How dare you? How dare you think that you're us? That you could ever be us? No. And it lunges at you and pushes you off the building, and you find yourself sailing down south. As that happens, the 3 of you are toe-to-toe with the kitty, and it hasn't been a standoff or anything like that. It's jumping from building to building, trying to slash, with Romeo dealing epic thrusts as they are able and want to do. And Beowulf nimbly dodging out of the way in almost a frustrating sort of way for this white tiger. What happens next?
I'm going to do something weird. Beowulf is going to run up against its back and clamp onto, like, you know, where cats
Yep.
automatically
Mama
like
Scruff.
the scruff. She's Beowulf and Xena is gonna actually just pull up on that scruff.
Okay. What's your intention here?
Make it heal. Bad
Make
pity.
it heal. You are, I'm gonna say, trying to express express your wishes to this thing to make it stop. Express is
Yeah.
probably the role here.
Yes.
Tamara and Anne, is there something that you want to do to aid in this regard? And what does it look like when you do? Bad kitty, I said no.
Oh.
God damn it, kitty.
If you've ever seen like a golden retriever with like a small cat and the kitten is just like pouncing on the golden retriever, there's this one video where I saw a golden retriever bark and then pat down on the cat. And the cat, I mean, still continues, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Okay. I think I'm gonna use Beacon to try and give 3 of us. I mean, do what you can, Franklin, because you can hear this too. And so everybody's gonna get a link, and you can choose what link effect you want to use with it. And I'm going to assist her. I'm assuming the scruff is huge, and we're not that huge. So I feel like we're going to need 2 hands. As many hands as we can.
It's
All
fair.
right. I like it. So, assisting a teammate, you're going to take on 1 stress, Anne.
Yep.
And Xena, you get to add 1 die to your roll.
You get 2, and then you get to add another die for
Sync ratio, right?
for the sync ratio.
Yeah.
And you also have a link to use in whatever way you wish.
And Xena, you clear 1 stress because sync ratio as a series ability is bullshit. In mechanical play, like it's just really good.
It is.
So add a die, clear a stress.
Add another die.
Yep, add another die because of sync ratio. And then if somebody else were to spend a link to help, you would gain 2 more die. If that's something Tamras is interested in doing.
I can only spend a link with Anne.
Yeah.
So I can.
That's how she goes.
I've got something for that. I put my link with Tamras for that one, and then I'm going to use. Is this a transcendent ability?
You are transcended, yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
All right. So, from a risky position, you do it, but there's consequences here.
No.
You suffer harm. You pull in the scruff, and Anne, you suffer harm as well because you were assisting a teammate in this regard. What kind of harm do you feel both of them are going to take? We'll make it the same thing.
I think our arms, because we're using our arms or something to pull the scruff on this thing, I think it would take some damage.
Okay.
Yeah. That would
So like a physical harm then in this
physical
regard.
harm. Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
How do
Yeah,
we
so
mark harm?
as you heal, he stops and he ceases the destruction of the city, and you fire your boosters at the same time, and he goes up and up and up and up, and you pull him into the sky, and between the two of you, it's almost like a dance, because This is Romeo's jam. And you align your verniers this way and fire, and you spin, and pirouette, and you let this thing go hard into that rift in the sky, and it clips off part of the dome and like catches one of the fangs of this thing. And as you do, the force of doing so, both Beowulf and Romeo suffer a physical torso injury of some kind. Like this thing is too big for you to be pushing your mechs in a physical way to like lift it and move it. You're not Goliath. That's not what you guys were made for. You're the lithe, dexterous ones. So I'm gonna say, I don't know. Some kind of a level 1 physical harm in this regard.
I can't help but feel that between the 13-year-olds trying to take our jobs and us trying to lift something that's a little too heavy, that we're all just sitting here going, "Oh, my back!" as we try to defeat the god.
Oh yeah. No, we're really getting it now.
Tamris, you see this massive fang come hurtling through the sky, piercing the dust and the fog, and it's headed straight for that orphanage.
How big is the fang?
Calgary Tower.
All right, that's gonna hurt. I am.
She just leaves it at that. She's like, do.
It's what Anne wanted.
It's what Anne wanted.
Prevent children from coming into the program.
I
No,
love it.
Goliath will absolutely go and try to stop the fang from falling. She's gonna go protect the innocents.
All right.
Even if it means abandoning
One arm
Franklin.
and a rock on a chain. You go loping through town trying to intercept this thing, boosting as fast as you can. And what do you do? How do you do it?
I think the best way she could do it is almost like, you know what? Okay, so it's about Calgary Tower size. How is it compared to Goliath size? Like if he was to
it's about
grab
it'd be a person bench pressing a person
You know what? Let's try it. This is going to be
with one arm.
with one arm. He is going to try to plug the hole and make this thing a person-size arm. I don't know.
Okay.
No, he's gonna probably kind of try to deflect it so that maybe it will ricochet off of Goliath's body, and maybe if there's enough momentum, bounce it off towards one of the other enemies, one of the other gods.
All right.
Change its trajectory.
All right. So you're hop, skip, and jumping it away to try and like deflect.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this is probably a defy roll.
it is.
And
is it possible to direct it towards the dragon that struck at Franklin?
it'd be in the direction that they're in. Absolutely.
Cool, because if that's the case, did he take harm at all?
You don't know yet.
Okay, because if it does, it's a how dare you, and
You know,
I would gain an
I,
effect,
I'd let you totally use a how dare you because orphanages are your friends.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And also, mysteriously, add 1 die to this action, please.
Okay. So then I get an effect on it,
Mm-hmm.
which is what? Over here.
You your effectiveness goes up from like there's good, there's great, there's when
Okay.
you click the roll, you have options.
And we're still desperate?
This
This is orphanage.
You know what? This feels very desperate to me.
Could I, while she's doing this, expend the one link that Anne gave me for Tamras to help to assist them in some way?
Do you have a link with Tamras?
I was given one extra link from Anne to do with as I please, so I'm using that link and I put it with Tamras. Is that how that one works, or no?
No. So the time you spent with Anne, you gain a link with Anne specifically.
Okay.
No, she's talking about I used Beacon.
Oh,
Mhm.
I
that,
used an ability.
which gives everybody a link to.
Yeah. They
To
choose
Anne.
which link effect to use.
Okay, sure, cool.
Yeah. So I'm
I get
gonna
to do
use.
it once per trend sentence. I love it.
Yes, you could totally assign that to Tamras.
And then the
Cool.
one surprise extra die.
And then one surprise extra die.
Cool.
Because you're a decent human being
Oh,
that doesn't want to
That's
kill
not the
people.
reason at all.
let's do this.
Um.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh no.
Ooh. Um.
I'm just gonna go home now.
Damn.
You did it.
Do you see how many ones were next to that 6?
I see how many ones. So
Holy shit.
fortunately, as Goliath goes to like push and they shove part of the fang, part of it breaks off and goes tumbling towards that that orphanage, and you turn and you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And out of the dust there's a swirl, and you hear over your loudspeaker this like the original like Tamras theme, and the thing gets cut in half, and Excalibur is standing there, and the little thing bleeps up, and there's a little girl in a cadet uniform,
Is it Iggy?
and she looks upon you and she says, "A green pendragon reporting for duty, ma'am,"
Ooh.
and like cuts the thing in half, and it saves an orphanage, and then she promptly like half falls over in it,
So cute.
and she's like, I'll hold down the fort here." She had a link with you from the earlier conversation.
Oh.
She spent it to give you a die.
girl. That is so
If she was
special.
flying, she has a link from me that she can use however she wants to survive.
Run.
To survive. Little half beret and like shoulder pads.
Wow.
Thing is saved. Franklin, because of the success and the sheer fuckery of cameras that the wizard has at his disposal, you see a massive tiger fang like plummeting through the air in your general direction. What do? You got a blue dragon pushing you down towards the ground.
I think that this would be a good time to try to use the big reveal. And it's typically at the moment when you transcend, you can use you can appear anywhere, but I want to know if I can maybe appear by the fang and see if I can use that to try to.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. I want to get on it, and I want to try and analyze it to see if I can find some weakness in these gods by like looking at the tooth. Now we've got like a chunk of its DNA and things are in the tooth, so maybe I can figure something.
I'm gonna get you to roll for this in some way. What I'd like is I want a conceal roll for this,
All right.
and I feel like Tamras doing this counts enough to give you an extra die.
All right.
This kind of counts as assisting a teammate, and you're far enough away. I'm not going to give you consequences for it. So you get an extra die on this.
But I am going to push myself, which is 2 stress, right?
Excellent. This is exactly what I wanted to hear.
All right. So yeah. So what's our position and our effect here?
You're timing it just right, and you're fighting a god kind of by yourself, but you're getting some help, so call it risky.
And the effect.
This could be great.
All right. Let's see what it is. It is transcendent, and I've got 2 bonus dice now. All right. Let's give her a rip.
That looks like a crit right there.
Mm-hmm.
So all at once, when suiting up, you've got, what are we gonna do? Oh yeah, I know exactly what it's gonna be. You hear this, like, the wizard's theme starts kicking off, and you look up at the blue dragon, and the wizard with this prismatic, like, body starts to shimmer, and it looks almost like half of Franklin's face, and it's like, and it just like fizzles away, and it wasn't there to begin with, and it's like confused, and it looks sideways as the wizard materializes around this tiger fang and just like nudges it in just the right direction, just like almost a comical like ping, and it immediately just like pinballs around and strikes right through this thing's chest. It's an assisted crit. Good. You're good. And this thing's just like falling, plummeting through the sky, holding the fang of a god in its chest. And there is a massive crash down below. You don't know if there were citizens down there or what, but all you hear in your loudspeaker is just like, people are probably dead. People are probably... No. And the blue dragon appears gone.
Oh, well.
Tamris. Seeing on multiple cameras from multiple angles, up in the sky, Vernier is burning. You've got your 2 battle-worn companions. You saw on the long scope, like, Franklin just took out a goddamn dragon in a shot. Did a great job. That's fantastic.
Oh, good.
We love a rookie.
funny how that works. And you're like, all right, oh, that was great. That's exactly what I needed. You look over as fire rains down on the other half of the city that you guys aren't in, and the massive burning celestial firebird stands blazing in all of its power. They're the wizard that only ever learned how to use fireball. I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast fireball. And the bastion is burning at this point. What do you do?
Can this count as a how dare you? Striking back against someone who has harmed my friends? I know we did it last time, but I thought I'd... In
this case, your friends aren't necessarily being capital H harmed by them.
That's fine.
So, and you're some distance away.
Right.
What do you do?
I am going to... I'd like to lead a group action.
Okay. That seems sensible.
Have us...
What are you going to do?
We're all going to strike defiantly against this creature that has not just harmed, like, this took out a lot of people and destroyed a lot of families and hope and it's trying to do it again. So it's time to strike back against this god.
We're with you, Captain. I'm going
Alright.
to assist my teammate.
Rolling
All right, so-
sound.
Leading a group action, everybody's going to roll to defy. The single best roll counts as the action result, which applies to every character that rolls. So, and Tamris is going to mark 1 stress for every 1, 2, or 3 that gets rolled by everybody.
We still push ourselves as normal.
You most certainly can. This is your roll.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
And does the sync ratio apply to it at all in a group action?
You're not receiving assistance from
Nope.
a player in this case. You're leading a group action.
All right.
So I
we're all
don't
in
think
together.
sync ratio helps there.
But if I
Um,
give her one of my links, does that make it
That
2?
you can.
Okay, I'm going to use one of my links with Tamris to give you 2 extra dice on this.
Amazing. Okay.
I like it. Anybody else want to burn a link?
Yeah, I'm going to use my link with Yowel to make sure that the connections between myself, Wizard, Goliath, Excalibur, and Romeo are tight. If that makes sense.
And how many stress do I have to take to push myself? 2?
2.
2 for an extra dice.
Yeah.
Okay. Defy.
All right.
Okay, let's go. This is desperate.
All right. I'm going to
We're
be
risky.
counting 1, 2s, and 3s because every extra die that you guys are rolling is potential for a 1, a 2, or a 3 to kill Tamris.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well, to eclipse Tamris.
I will use my Jaded to expend my special armor to resist any consequences of my rival's actions
I like it.
and to act before my thing. So I'm going to burn my special armor.
Oh my god, I suck tonight.
So Tamris, you take 4 stress immediately.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. We're good.
Franklin got a 6. That was a success, and you do it. Anne got a success, and you do it.
1, 2s, and 3s are counting against her, right?
Yep. Tamris, take 2 more stress,
I'm like leaking fluid everywhere, but I'm
and
trying to
Goliath's not
push.
doing great either.
I'm like
one of
falling
those stress,
behind.
can we take one of those stress? Because I use my special armor to get rid of one of the stress.
In this case, yeah, you know what? That seems like a reasonable use of your special armor. You lead the Defiance, and Amanda, I'll ask you to narrate what this looks like. What does your coordinated effort come in? How do you envision all of your teammates performing their best based on how you know them? What do they do?
Xena's going out front first. She's got the jump. It's what she wants. She's leading.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going for the throat.
Okay. As she does.
And in the most beautiful dance ever, it's just going slightly underneath Xena
Mm-hmm.
with the rapier to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Wizard. There's some mirrors and smoke going on. It looks like he's coming from every direction, but really he's going straight for the eyes.
I like it. Those pointy hands that aren't hands. Like it. And what's Goliath doing?
Goliath is going to go for the knees. For all the little ankle biters out there. Trip
I
them
like
up.
Goliath with that one chain whips around the knees in the sky, and this thing just kind of buckles forward, piercing through the front on Romeo's sword. feeling its head roll sideways as the bipedal form of Anubis, or like a Nubian face of Beowulf, um, pushes its claws and its canine mouth to it and just rips and tears. And as it falls forward, feeling the front of itself push away, um, you hear like uh, something come through the speakers in each of your cockpits, and it's just like people standing on buildings and down below, and just like, yeah, kick him in his nuts, and just all throughout the city, and they're just like whistling and like holding sticks and holding stuff up and like fighting and casting their defiance. And this thing falls to the ground. All of you just like taking it. I imagine, like, given that there are people underneath you, let's retcon that. You probably like send him sailing up and hurl his body back into the abyss. There's still probably a dragon around here somewhere that needs doing, but we'll get to that later. And the portal up above closes. And you are left to the hissing static of your comms with the four of you.
My immediate reaction is to go straight towards Tamras and hold them up. I'll hold up Goliath.
You kill the Verniers and you're in town. The Bastion was never meant to be fought inside. It was meant to be a paradise for people to rollerblade in. But here you are.
We did it, right?
For now.
For now, yeah.
But
Ah.
yeah.
Xena's going to look at the most immediate new member and will go, Honey, good job. Good job, kid. I knew those talks were useful.
Yeah, can I go hug Iggy?
Iggy is struggling to get off of their butt in their bipedal Gundam. It just straight up looks like Wing Zero, like 100%, with a big ass sword. Hasn't quite figured out the whole, like, they could fly and hit a thing, but landing and like walking around in the fine motor control, not a thing. You find out later that uh they were on tour looking around, and they were being shown Epic Park, and then there were the Klaxons, and they saw you guys suiting up and everything, and she helped you get into Goliath, and it was this whole big thing. And then um people were talking about how you were going to lose, and Jimmy made a wisecracking comment about how this is probably the last you were going to hear of, they were going to hear of you anyways, so it didn't really matter. And she had had enough and found the closest one, which was sitting on a stone, and was like, no, I'm not going to stand for that. And it stood up, and it seemed like a good idea, so she stole a Gundam and left in true anime protagonist fashion.
I mean, that
Does she
sword
have-
would be hers.
Yep, she must have very bright hair because
Y-
she is
you
the
would
main character.
you would think so. All of your hair is just very, very non-standard, I have to say. We jump to our epilogue. It's not a fallout so much as an epilogue. You tell me what happened to Anne. You won. What happened? What did you get? How did it all work out for you?
Um, Anne would continue to, as long as the captain was there, Anne would stay with Romeo.
Mhm.
but that stranger on the side of the road wasn't wrong, and we all do eventually retire from duty. And on her way out, she would have poisoned the lines on Romeo's system so that he couldn't fly anymore
I like it.
and would have faded away.
I like it. A small chalice falls to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Romeo dies.
But
And
Juliet
Gladys,
lives because the rest of that is just nonsense.
right? It's very nonsensical.
And some
Franklin.
stories get to be rewritten.
With Leonardo DiCaprio later in a gangbanger?
Oh
It was weird.
God. All right. No. Leave it where I left it.
That was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Franklin, how
Hmm.
does all this work out for you?
I think
Does it?
I think because we won, yes, I think this is the best version of the timeline. So I think Franklin is retired and he's back on the maintenance crew at this point. He's fading into obscurity. Wizard was that weird one that they used to have a long time ago, but it didn't really work on the team. So I think that wherever he's at now, he's back in there. He's still working on the environmental controls and he's getting chewed out for having it taken
You have
that long.
fixed the goddamn environmental controls at this point. You have it. It is solved. It is done.
It's done. Probably not
They
thanks
put
to
a
him.
plaque up in the cafeteria
Mhm.
with your name on it that was like, fucking finally.
But yeah, the whole thing feels like a dream to him. And if he sees anybody else in the halls besides like a nod or anything else that they get, there's not much. But occasionally he just has like a haunted 1,000-yard stare on his face when he's supposed to be working and doing something, and he snaps back out of it really quick and gets back to work. But yeah, I think he just kind of fades back into obscurity now that they've fully decommissioned the wizard.
Xena, how did you win? What changed?
Xena, upon retiring, she is this older lady who wears pink sundresses with a frilly hat, fully like dotting away her emo lifestyle from the past.
Gotta
And
keep them guessing.
gotta keep them guessing. She is now like a little grandma who bakes cookies, and every once in a while she sends cookies off to Tamris and then Anne, and also to Franklin. Sometimes she drops by Epic Park where Franklin is working and make sure he gets like a little lunch and then also a little stopwatch of you better run once in a while just to kind of keep up, with the youngins. Um, as for whatever happens to Beowulf, she she is so in tune with this particular mech that she knows that um she can't hold on to Beowulf. It's not just her story anymore. It's everybody else's. And so she would wait for the right person to pilot Beowulf. She would hand similar to the ending of Beowulf's story, where Beowulf actually dies because a dragon poisons them. She would wait to hand off Beowulf to another individual, someone more deserving. And towards that individual, they would say, just so you know, there will always be death. And you'll see the Beowulf's face kind of pull back to look more Anubis. And she'll look to her successor and be like, it's up to you to decide whether you're the one who guides or if you're the one who deals the last blow. And then walks coolly off into the sunset with her pink strawberry flowery dress
Like
and
a
a biggie
boss.
smile. Yeah, curling hair. And she's now with like this big bodybuilder named Jake.
I like it. And Tamris,
Well,
what changed in the Bastion and in the core and with you?
she had always kind of avoided the PR work. She hated speaking in front of people. That was never her thing. Now she embraces that public role, does the speeches, does her own personal campaigning for standing up for the people that need it, protecting the innocent, protecting people younger, smaller, not as smart, just standing up for your friends. And with that, she stays with the program for a long time until her little codename Matilda then becomes codename Miss Honey, and she adopts Iggy, who lost
I
her
love it.
parents, and eventually Iggy takes over.
I like it. As for the Bastion, um, the secondary attack was brutal, and a close enough reminder after the first that what was being done wasn't sustainable. And the bigwigs, half of them didn't make it. The other half that tried to exert control were met with military hostility from Commander Bartok, one of the senior representatives of humanity at this point, that had just enough leverage and public goodwill from the activities and support that you have to be able to nip a few things in the bud. Repairs were made. You stayed 65 million years in the past because this is your place. This is your city. But the process was altered. It wasn't so much about not wasting enough, conserving time. Energy use was reestablished and reworked. So waste was seen to hold a higher disdain than wasting people's time. It was waste in general. Everybody became a little more efficient. Jimmy the Sweet was publicly executed for wasting 257 people's time. At the same time, when he locked himself into one of the hideaway bunkers and closed the door behind him, barring other people from getting in. They found him. Didn't last that long. It was a bittersweet day that day.
I was a little bit too happy when I found out about that news. In fact, Xena would have gotten everybody bubble tea.
And somehow every camera was turned on.
Funny how that works. The new chairman of the Bastion, Elias Love, has been supporting your staunch supporters, and the supporters of your proteges, so to speak, in the case of Tamris. The program itself wasn't ended. Nothing's gone forever, but there's a time of peace for certain on that pushback. You've demonstrated yourself formidable, and for a while you maintained your roles, and after a while passed those mantles when you could. But the chairman was so taken by your burning passion and expression of love and care and diligence that he declared beanbag chairs for everyone, even though they were black market items marked down in our original game build here. Everybody has to take at least one day a week for leisure to melt those stress away. That was his the thing he ran on and won. That was his chairman speech for it. I think that's an excellent place to wrap. I'm not gonna leave a nice sinister ending at the end of like I'll get you next time gadget next time. So this is Girl by Moonlight, and thank you everybody who stuck around and checked it out over the last couple of weeks. Thank you to Evil Hat for sending us everything to play through.
Woo.
And it's still up on BackerKit. If you want to go and pick up a copy, it is worth the cost 100%. And I recommend following everything else that they do. Thank you to Andrew for letting us do this with the system you designed as well. That is amazing. Thank you guys for sticking around for a couple of weeks and playing with us, because I needed better magical girls than I could do by my very own lonesome. If you are in the Calgary area this coming weekend, September 16th and 17th, we're going to be putting on Enchanted Okotoks. It is a live action role play that's going to be using an augmented reality RPG system. So everybody walking around with their phones, fighting dragons and goblins and stuff. Walking around town, the businesses are in on it. There's going to be a whole bunch of folks in costume. We got vendors coming out for it. If you find yourself with 4 hours that you want to spend wearing a hat and a pouch, come kill some dragons with us and come hang out. It'll be a good time. Next month, we've got our Roll for Wishes campaign on October 28th. We have our fourth seat filled once more. We're going to have Chris from Treant Monk's Temple filling one of them for the optimizers in our community. Scarlet64 is going to be helping out as well. She's known for streaming on Twitch and TikTok, and does awesome mixes. I follow her on YouTube for some of her DJ stuff, EDM stuff. We've got Lydia Corinne of D&D TikTok fame. She's going to be. I'm really hoping that she has enough time to do the commissioned character art for the characters for it, but we'll see. It's cutting it a little close. And then we've got Hype Goblin coming in. Sarah Roberts, she runs a YouTube channel and a podcast and does a bunch of TikToks and live streams and makes some really kick-ass content. So that'll be on the 28th. It's going to be a 9-hour session starting in the morning. Your contributions to Make-A-Wish International affect the game directly. Advantage for the players. We've done other content like it over the last couple of years. You can donate dice to me to screw with the players if you want, to a maximum of 3 at a time, because I feed the trolls for charity. It is a thing that I do, and hopefully it turns out and we can do a lot of good for a lot of kids. So in November, I want to say, we're going to be at Tabletop YYCCon, helping out running some TTRPG tables for the public. I think tickets are still on sale for that if you want to come hang out and check things out. So thanks everybody for stopping by, and to my players, thank you. It was good.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
I'm playing this again.
Amazing.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Good.
This is going on my. I'm buying a hardcover copy of this book, and it's going on my shelf.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. All right. I'm killing it. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.